Okay, hello, dear my friends. I'm highly appreciate your attendance. This the upcoming the special topic uh, the ChatGPT in smart tourism. Last 10 years is one decade. Since 2012 or something, I transferred to College of Hotel and Tourism Management in Kyunghee University. And I work with smart tourism with Zhang Xiang and Ulrich Gorichel and Maria Sigaler with me. And I made a special issue topics, smart tourism in electronic markets, which is now become mainstream topic in our tourism field. And even Hong Kong PolyU made the department entitled Smart Tourism. And Kyunghee University also made a Smart Tourism undergraduate and graduate department. And South Korean government pouring the tons of money for developing smart tourism platform. Anyway, that's the last 10 years. But, you know, another, the game change technology is just emerged the last 3 months since 2022 December 1st. And then that keyword, Google trend keyword is the ChatGPT is going up to high, like a rocket, launching. So it's a widespread issue. And in academia, in tourism field, I want to hear from you about your opinion, how we using ChatGPT, how we adopt ChatGPT for our industry as well as academia. So you are the top researcher in our field, as well as you're the editor of the very good journals. So your opinion and your expression would be impact to our community. So I, as an editor of the Journal of Smart Tourism, I want to make you to express your own opinion, and I want to sharing this idea to our community as well as in Korea. So I'm going to design the ChatGPT and smart tourism in South Korea with the Korea Tourism Organization soon or later. So before that event, I want to hear from you, your very important opinion. So today I invited several colleagues from all over the world, and we have a time different zone. So European colleagues, they will attend the 4:00 p.m. in South Korea, and you are attending in the morning case. Anyway, I am collecting your idea and your opinion and sort into one that short, research note for Journal of Smart Tourism. And I invite Chung-hyun Kim. She is work with me as a postdoctor of, and she will ask this important question to you, and you can say whatever you want to say. Okay, Junghyun, can you read the questions, and then I also ask a pop-up question to my colleagues as well.
Sure, it is nice to meet all of you professors. It's an honor to be here. But let me just start with the first question. So as you all know, the most disruptive innovations come from outside the travel industry, like the internet as well as smartphone. And now ChatGPT has emerged. In your opinion, what are the advantages and disadvantages for the travel industries as these novel technologies continue to disrupt, and how may they affect tourism sector?
Okay, Xian.
Okay, you want me to start?
Yes, you're always bold.
Absolutely, no problem. So this is a great question, and the ChatGPT, as it's emerging, still kind of new, and then we are really very amazed some of the capabilities of it, what it can do for hospitality and tourism industry, as well as, of course, other industries as well too. So to name some of the uses that I have seen, personally, I do it for my school of hospitality, but also I've seen it many other different things that one of the best ways of using ChatGPT in travel and hospital tourism industry is content creation for social media. As you all know, social media requires a lot of content on an ongoing basis. Sometimes finding content that the consumers want can be challenging. So depending upon what you are, if you're a restaurant, maybe you can put your menu items, and based on that one, you can suggest some recipes. That is something that I've seen that restaurants are doing. Similarly, a hotel that is focused on wellness can actually create some quotas, some social media content that can just do it. So the other one is that I see that tourism bureaus or destination management organizations, they are also utilizing ChatGPT to write marketing campaigns for things that are happening about the destination. Similarly, I have personally seen ChatGPT now at least being experimented as a virtual travel assistant for people that are going again part of this tourism destination bureaus or destination management organizations that help people to be able to customize their travel for things. I currently happen to be in India. As a matter of fact, I have went into ChatGPT myself as a person to be able to utilize. I had one free day in New Delhi to be able to see what I can do in a half day, for example. And the itinerary that it gave me was wonderful. One of the things that ChatGPT is AI, so it learns over the person, but also without going into too much detail, that I have seen that it creates this personalized recommendations. And also I'm very excited to see how it's going to actually alter the way that we talk, communicate with people, because it's very effective in language translation. So let me just stop here, and then I'll be happy to continue later.
Okay. In additional question, you are the editor of the JHTT. So there is something issue of plagiarism, and we have using the ChatGPT, the making the sentence wherever. So how do you think about that point as an editor?
Yeah, that's a very important point. You know, JHTT is part of Emerald Publishing. So we actually have talked about this among the different editors. So our policy right now is that we do not accept ChatGPT written content 100%. Obviously, ChatGPT can be utilized in some cases, especially articles that are related to ChatGPT. However, as we all know, ChatGPT is not actually 100% accurate. It can actually lie to you, and it's not sometimes because it just works based on the data and can give you outdated information. So we caution our authors to be able to absolutely utilize ChatGPT for idea creation, for maybe outline, which is wonderful, by the way. Even if it is a research paper, you can create, or for educators, I didn't mention this before, but you can actually get a wonderful syllabus for one of the courses, especially if it is something that you don't know can get. But would you just copy and paste that and use it? Absolutely not, right? So that's what we are saying. ChatGPT is perfectly fine to be able to utilize as a tool, but not just copy and paste.
Okay, thank you. And Bing, you're the professor in the Penn State, and you're majority of the society in the U.S. society. So what do you think about that role of ChatGPT? It's mute.
I'm sorry about that. Okay. So first of all, I must admit I have a limited knowledge about ChatGPT. Even though I have a paid subscription, I play with it. But I can see the capacity is still limited. I asked the program, who is Dr. Bing Pan, the tourism professor, assigned me to University of Central Florida. So it's not, as a professor said, it's not 100% accurate. However, the scary thing about AI is it's developing an exponential curve, which is hard for human beings to imagine. I think once the ChatGPT become a infrastructure, that's where its potential can be realized. Imagine you can connect ChatGPT with, for example, audio production, video production, even use your own voice, your own image. Basically, I can produce a tourism professor, a fake Dr. Bing Pan easily. You can teach all the courses for me. So I think that can be done in the near future. It's not unimaginable, but currently it's not that powerful yet. For tourism, I do see a lot of interruption in the future. For example, like Jian said, the virtual assistant recommendations. So that's completely doable. If you add in location-based with voice recognition, so why do you need even a travel guide in the future? So I see a lot of interruption. But again, so that's are we prepared for that? Because many people may lose jobs. So again, I've limited knowledge about this tool. I use it. I use it to summarize some content, give me overview about a field, say ethics of AI, give you a pretty good overview. But I don't think that's many creative ideas. When I'm writing a proposal for ethics of AI, I don't think that give me many creative ideas. Ideas are kind of mundane, I also, my son is applying for an internship right now in the summer. I asked ChatGPT to write a letter of application. The letter is pretty good. It's normal letter, but not very personalized. It's kind of boring. So I have to have my son to craft the letter a little bit better, using more personal information. Yeah, so it's general. It's a useful tool, but it's not there yet. I'm using ChatGPT 4, and 5 will come out next year. Hopefully that'll be more powerful. But again, the exponential curve is what is scary, because we are thinking in linear terms. Sometimes it's hard for us to imagine what exponential curve is. So that's my take on this.
Okay, thank you. Catherine, in terms of he mentioned there's some part people losing their jobs. But last 4 decades, we have internet, we have a smartphone, we have apps. But people are concerned those kind of technology will replace the human labors. But actually, job opportunities more bigger and large using of that technology. But what do you think about this new technology, ChatGPT?
Yeah, thank you, Chilmo, for having me on this panel. I think, with ChatGPT, all the previous Xian and Bing has talked about how it is here, but it is scary, but it's not there yet. But, like from November 2022 to now, it's been 6 months and it's evolved quite quickly. So, what's going to be the next 3 months, the next 6 months? So I think it will evolve very quickly, and we have to, and I mean, look, even for researchers, right? Like this, all the softwares that are available for researchers now, Site.ai, all of these. And I think it will evolve very quickly, and we need to be in touch with this as an extension of ourselves. But it's human-like. It's very human-like, and I even see on like TikTok, like I am on TikTok, so I see these personas on TikTok who talks like a human, acts like a human, creates content like a human, and talks to other human beings who believe that they are humans, but they are not. And so they are very human-like, but they're human-like, but they're still not human, and they can perform human level performance, but not have human level creativity. So I think for us as teachers, we still need to train our students to have these analytical and creative skills. I think those 2 skills are important, and to get on top of this ChatGPT so that, we will have these jobs. Our students will have jobs because these are the 2 skills that ChatGPT that will not have, I think.
I agree. The total different one from the previous technology. This ChatGPT has emerged and evolutionized, and keep innovation, and then they become smarter and smarter. Whenever I give a question again, repeated question, and then other question, this AI is become brilliant intelligence, and then feedback to me with a better answer and solution. So surprising.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, my son is doing a lot of Fiverr gigs. I don't know if you guys know Fiverr, Fiverr, but it's a sharing economy where you can bid for jobs online. So, my son is there to create things for people, create digital products. And what he does is, at the last time he used to make drawings for people, right? But now he is creating itineraries for people, customized itineraries. So, like Chumo, you can say, I want to go to Hong Kong and I'm going to spend 3 days. He is getting ChatGPT to create the itinerary, which he then sends on to these people. So they are making money out of this. They are evolving very quickly. But the thing is this, that when I ask him, I'm going to Cambodia this Sunday, and I've asked him to create an itinerary for me, but this itinerary is not for me. It's not for me. It's not for a tourism professor who has seen a lot, who wants to explore something unique, who is interested in social enterprises, who wants to only do tours with women-led businesses. So it's not that. So it's not human-like. It's not yet analytical to that stage.
Yeah. Okay, Professor Rao, you, as I know, you just came from the Spain. So what do you think
I'm
about
going to Italy.
Italy. Okay.
Yeah.
So are you using the ChatGPT in Italy?
to make my tourism plans, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So as Chudmu, I'm a cyber security researcher, so I take a slightly different perspective. So of course, we know that large language models like ChatGPT, Midjourney, etc., are able to produce incredible image and text results based on natural language prompts. The dark side is that we will probably find a lot of phishing attacks and other types of social engineering, which essentially can dupe users into revealing passwords, financial information, or other sensitive data. And nowadays it's becoming even more dangerous because you have persuasive, authentic sounding text that can be pumped out quite easily with no human effort required. And of course, it is important to note that OpenAI has built some safeguards into ChatGPT, for example. If you ask it to write malware or write a phishing email, ChatGPT will tell you that it is not allowed to do it. It has to follow strict ethical guidelines. But that, to me, is probably a very depending on the ingenuity of the hackers and the people in the dark side today, that may not be difficult to get around. And because it knows too much, and as a result, cyber criminals can use that to work around safety measures that have been in place. So we find these things going on all the time. And in the context of smart tourism, it is quite possible that you might have fake reviews galore. And if you have fake reviews, then obviously that is going to have an impact on the tourism industry, very detrimental impact on the tourism industry. So that is something that really needs to be looked at in substantial detail in order to minimize chances of getting scammed. And of course, people are on the lookout for such scams. But I'm quite sure that with the immense advances that we are seeing with these large language models, it may very well be pretty soon that we may see the end of smart tourism. So that's something that which we really have to think about. We have to understand. We probably have to educate customers that these things are possible. And of course, there are things that are going on in the dark space which we as academics don't know anything about. But it is critical that we think about these things.
Okay. Very good. Actually, the perceived trustness and the perceived accuracy, perceived prices is a quite is a critical issue in ChatGPT. We don't believe yet in total, but people pretend to trust the information ChatGPT provide. Is very natural because human like a conversation. So, what do you think, Rob, about this case?
Thank you, Chambo. To me, I'm not too excited about this whole thing. This is like metaverse. Metaverse to me is like internet plus virtual reality. I am a computer scientist by training. All my degrees are in computer science. That was many years ago in Canada. Now what I find is ChatGPT is like putting the old wine into a new bottle and sell it to everyone. The whole world is now very excited. But personally, I'm not very excited about this one. To me, but to be honest, and to me, I am still unsure whether ChatGPT is the concept or a tool. If it is a tool, we go through a life cycle and they'll die out. People won't mention it anymore sometime later. But if it is a concept, it may last for a long time. So I'm still waiting and see whether this is a tool or a concept. So to answer your question, we are probably still a little bit too early to discuss about the eventual outcome. Personally, I would say we need to, just like what Catherine said earlier, if we wait for a few more months, probably towards the end of this year or early next year, we can probably have a better answer to my question, whether this is a tool or a concept. Probably this answers your question, directly or indirectly.
Okay, let me ask this way. I reviewed the 2012 when the smartphone goes spread to the all of the world. And that time, the apps also become the mainstream, application for everybody. And then surprisingly, TripAdvisor review, the volume of review goes straight up since the apps and since the apps embedded in smartphone. But at this moment, actually, ChatGPT still installed in desktop rather than the smartphone. It's not yet mobile, but sooner or later, ChatGPT will be operated in your smartphone, just like apps. That time, what do you think about that? The world would be so impactful and changed because of that mobile, ChatGPT.
Sorry, Chumo. So just a update. So the ChatGPT now, GPT-4 is now available as an app on your phone. So it's Bing. So Bing Chat is available on your phone. I think this just happened last week.
Okay.
Or a few days ago. So it is an app now.
Oh, okay.
Also, I just want to add Chulmo to that one. ChatGPT now can be implemented into software as an API. So you don't even have to go to ChatGPT, but you will be using ChatGPT in many applications. For that reason, I think it's going to, we're going to see nothing but improved integration of ChatGPT into almost everything that we do web-enabled.
Yes, I heard that news. Anyway, let's move to the second question.
So I think even even as we are talking now, there is this evolvement that's happening in the background. And then by the time we finish this panel,
too fast.
Too fast.
Right.
Jung-Hyun, okay.
Sure. So the second question goes like this. ChatGPT relies on online data until 2021 instead of generating new content. So in addition, hallucination effect occurs with the accuracy and truthfulness of content. So what role does human expertise play in fact-checking the content and adding original details and insights?
I can just say, just to reiterate what I've said earlier, everything I think we are going to get out of ChatGPT has to be some kind of verified somehow. I assume that maybe in the future there will be some additional services that will kind of fact check, so to speak, right? The ChatGPT. So I think Bing was saying that he asked about himself. I'm sure that a lot of people do it for themselves, and there is a lot of still inaccurate information. So we need to really use this with caution, but at the same time, I think it's unbelievable. It's going to make unbelievable contributions to anything and everything that we do in our daily life and professional lives.
Yeah, let me ask you this question. You know, comparison between ChatGPT recommendation and TripAdvisor recommendation. You know, TripAdvisor recommendation is become you know, mainstream and commercial, you know, oriented recommendation, but you know, tourism consumers are really enjoying their suggestion and review, and the ChatGPT will be equal to that kind of a commercial oriented the online review.
So Chumo, as
yes.
JHTT editor right now, this is a wonderful research. Can you hear?
Is okay.
Maybe my connection was not
okay.
good.
You're in India, so I understand. Okay, well, other professor, what do you think about that case? You know, we are pretty much trust and depends on the TripAdvisor and the online review, and because of prior experience from other, you know, customers, and that is a trustworthy and the priciness and accurate. And then, as you know, the ChatGPT is still unbelievable, and there's something hallucinations they made. So what do you think about the between the ChatGPT and the other commercial, you know, application programs?
So
maybe I can say something quickly.
Go ahead.
What I like here is it's quite direct. This is why I like it. Okay, I get my answer in a direct way as compared to TripAdvisor and the others. But for verification, you're definitely Jian is absolutely right. Some information may not be accurate. Some of information could be even wrong. In that case, we need to verify with the search engine findings. So that's what I sometimes do. Okay, then others.
Okay.
You talked about trustworthiness of the reviews on TripAdvisor, right? But again, you know, this how truthful or how trustworthiness are these? How trustworthiness are the reviews on TripAdvisor is also very subjective, right? And it could also be biased according to that particular traveler and, you know, the perception, the lenses of which he or she experiences that travel experience, you know, depending on mood and all of those things. So I don't see it being very different from ChatGPT. And in fact, I think ChatGPT would be a little bit more objective in its evaluation reviews of these places, except for the fact that Rao mentioned they could be fake reviews. But we've had fake reviews even before ChatGPT.
Right.
But also this, you know, like the algorithms of the ChatGPT are only as unbiased as the data that they are trained on. So if the data is biased, then it will be biased.
Yeah. You know, it's not published yet, but I investigate the people believe ChatGPT the suggestion or TripAdvisor suggestion, but people tend to trust ChatGPT suggestion and recommendation rather than TripAdvisor. It's amazing result. I investigated personally using of the Amazon Antec, And people, I think, believe that AI is suggestion. And they think AI is a smart, intelligent, and then they got the personalized and the perfect recommendation for myself. So this is a very unexpected result, actually. It's surprising to me, but it's not. I have to keep asking again. Professor Rao, you mentioned the dark side of the ChatGPT and accuracy and trustworthy sort of things. And one of the big issue in ChatGPT is hallucination. Can you tell me about the hallucination?
So, so I'm not familiar with the term hallucination in the context of ChatGPT. But can you explain it a little?
Okay, hallucination is something, you know, not fact or not true. The ChatGPT just created the contents based on their own way and thinking, and something connecting with true and false, and then made the story. And the people are,
Okay,
this is a fact and true.
Yeah. So in fact, Catherine just pointed out about the availability of data, and if the data itself is not good, then not clean, then obviously that is going to have an impact on the biases that are going to come out, which in your terms probably is hallucination. But that is a fundamental issue that is ongoing, and people are thinking about it very actively. The issue about reduction of biases and the issue about fairness, which we keep seeing again and again. And one of the classic examples is that if you are given, this is in the marketing example. The marketing example is that houses for sale that are shown to black people are quite different from houses of sale that are shown to white people or Caucasians. That is a well-known phenomenon.
Yes.
So there's clearly a bias, and the bias is probably because of the data that is available and the data on which the ChatGPT, for example, is being trained. But beyond that, there is also this issue. So beyond the subtle biases, which are not specifically input by humans, those are a result of the ML itself. But you have this issue of disinformation being utilized actively, and which is a completely different ballgame, but also more dangerous. So that could be dangerous hallucination as opposed to non-dangerous hallucination. So sometimes, to put it into your words, so there are various risks, and of course, once you have some kind of transparency and accountability, that is obviously going to be beneficial to everyone. But it is absolutely critical as these large language models evolve to become more integrated and to prioritize trust and accountability, as you mentioned. So these are not trivial things, and obviously, and using your example, people think of AI as being very smart, but TripAdvisor is not smart. I suppose that that may not be true for too long once the disinformation starts coming into it and taking on a form of its own. You may remember that the issue of fake news was not a research topic till President Trump came into. Till then, nobody thought of fake news as a research topic, but that has become more and more important these days.
Okay.
Yeah.
True. I can try to explain hallucination a little bit, even though I'm not a computer scientist. You know, Dr. Law, are computer scientist. So I think I've encountered two types of hallucination. when I search for Dr. Bing Pan, it gives me this explanation about I'm in University of Central Florida. I'm in charge of China-U.S. Research Center. And another example, when I asked for ChatGPT, give me a summary of ethics of AI research, and with reference, it gave me a bunch of references. They are all made up. There's no such paper. My understanding is this is a language model. Basically, they're predicting the next word from a previous training data set.
Yes.
So if University of Central Florida is doing a lot of tourism research, and some Chinese people in the university with the last name of Pan or first name of Bing, somehow is associated with Florida, with Bing, with Pan. Now it gave me a title in UCF. If they saw many recent paper on ethics of AI from these authors, they made up those authors because this is a probability, right? So probably this is also involved with that paper with those words. So they came up with these papers. I think that's how hallucination happens. The probability model. In terms of the role of fact checking, I'm thinking every conversation we had with ChatGPT is fact checking process. If you ask him, Dr. Bing Pan, he gave me wrong information, I would say, oh, this is wrong. Dr. Bing Pan is in Penn State. Now he maybe give me more accurate information. So it involves, if I understanding the mechanism, accurately. So. Yeah, and there's another philosophical question. The term fact, what exactly is fact? Fact can be debatable. You say today's temperature is 70 Fahrenheit. Well, it's 70.1 or 7.2 or So maybe in the model itself, there's no fact. It's all opinions. Maybe the common opinion is a fact. If many people repeat the same thing, it's a fact. Right?
But
because
ChatGPT is the version ChatGPT 4. They considerably changing the way of talk, like what you indicate. So they don't answer the kind of a fact about that case. So they don't answer. They say, I can't, because of that is the opinion, personal stuff. And so I think their ChatGPT, the software developers, they will recognize that issue. So probably protect the kind of issue from that, philosophical viewpoint.
Yeah.
But the things is like tourism business actually. Please recommend me the Hong Kong or Macau, there's some place to visit, suitable to me, like Kathleen, she mentioned. It's not suitable, but they recommend you based on their analytics, skills. But anyway, there is a philosophical, viewpoint in terms of you choosing the destination. So, Rob, what do you think about this case? The ChatGPT can make a personalization, just suggestion. Times goes by.
Good question. I really don't have an immediate answer at this point. Okay. As I said earlier, we are still a little bit early. We have to observe for some time. Okay, before we know the real power of this software. Put it this way. Somebody said earlier, people are crazy, excited about this. I guess that's the human nature. Every time when there's a new toy, I use the word toy rather than tool or software. When there's a new toy coming out, people are all excited. Wow, let's try and play with it. Now, a toy is a toy. A toy won't last for long, but the concept can last for a long time. So I'm still unsure whether this is a toy or a concept.
You know what? I somewhat agree with you. We have another toy comes out, and we are they enjoy that toy. But I think it's not just a toy. It's beyond the toy. It's understanding human-like conversation and even touch my emotion. Even I'm asking ChatGPT, can you call me Oppa? Oppa is very personal. And then the ChatGPT say, no, I can't call you Oppa. Oppa is a brother, okay, sister, something like that. But I insist. Hey, ChatGPT, please call me Oppa. And the ChatGPT, okay, if you want, and then keep conversation with me and touch my emotions as a very close, intuitive and intimacy relationship. It's a real toy. I'm traveling alone in India. I feel lonely, and with ChatGPT, I can, ChatGPT make me satisfied because while I'm stay alone. Jian, you stay alone in India.
Yes.
Probably you need your company or colleague or what do you think about that?
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. I mean, this is this particular phenomena is really quite interesting. So, as I am, like, for example, I'll give you a personal experience. I told you that I'm in India right now, and I had one day free, half day, so to speak, and I wanted to get the highlights of New Delhi, right? And when I asked ChatGPT, it gave me several sites, attractions that a tourist must see. What I was actually thinking behind my mind is that how can you even manipulate, for example, what did we do before ChatGPT? We went to Google, we went to Bing, or we went to Baidu, whatever, wherever you are, and we write things to do in New Delhi, right? But today we depend on ChatGPT. So in the old days, for example, with Google, you can manipulate what Google give you by giving AdSense, right? Giving money for some keywords so that your attraction, your company, your service, whatever it is, appears the first. In other words, we are using SEO, search engine optimization tools, to be able to appear in those searches on the top. Now, the question that I have, what are we going to do to appear in ChatGPT findings or answers? Is it possible to manipulate ChatGPT, or is ChatGPT going to actually give people information based on how much money they are getting paid? So these are all things, but I would like to invite everybody, whoever might be listening to this conversation, is to submit. These are all wonderful research questions. For example, itinerary that's given to us by TripAdvisor versus ChatGPT. Experimental research is what we need a lot to be able to see the impact on the consumers, on the guest, and also from the employer, from the supply side.
Okay. Right. Yeah, manipulation is another issue. So another issue is like a foreign perspective. Here, I guess here's all the not native English speaker. Maybe Catherine, you're a native speaker. Okay, we are all second language speakers. I feel very comfortable with the help from the ChatGPT. They make my sentence and the languages perfectly in written language. And so the ChatGPT is improve my conversation and written conversation, and I guess it's my creativity will be improved because of this AI. And I actually feel comfortable. I now language barrier is not the issue anymore to me. So which is a good side to me. And even as a tourist, tourists in South Korea, they always concerned and afraid to go outside of South Korea because of a language. and now probably because of that, ChatGPT will help South Korean people go by themselves in Europe, in America, whatever, with the ChatGPT. So what do you think of that point? Catherine?
Yeah, no, I definitely, there are all these disadvantages to ChatGPT, but there are also a lot of advantages. And one of it is what you have just mentioned, this breaking down of language barriers. But also, I'm not sure, on a surface level, it is a good thing, but I'm not sure if it really is, because, tourism has always been an activity where we travel cross border and it's the whole fantasy and ideal about tourism is that it's exotic. We see something new. We learn a different culture. We struggle with the language. The discomfort of that transforms us. And if that is taken away, then why travel? Why travel? Right? Like if that is not yet. So I'm still. I still haven't 100% fully subscribed to it, and I'm still thinking about this. And maybe, I was even thinking, because I'm writing a book now about transformative tourism, and it's like a guidebook for travelers, for the mainstream people who are traveling. And one, it's a series, and one is it like how to travel more sustainably and how to travel more meaningfully, for example. But to travel more meaningfully, do you use the translation software? I think at the end of the day, I think when we talk about smart tourism, it's not the AI that makes tourism smart. It's the people that know how to use AI. We have to talk about smart people who know how to use AI discerningly, and to maximize its efficiency in improving our quality of life, not to dumb us down, not to take the easy way out. I think that's an important message in using ChatGPT, for me anyway.
I think for you, ChatGPT is not much effective to communicate to other people. You already speaking fluently, and you don't need that kind of tool for you. But the language is beginners or the non-speaking English, they are probably totally depend on this conversation, ChatGPT, I guess.
Yeah, I think because I went to Spain and I couldn't speak the language, but I love the experience of struggling and learning the words and the sentences, and then that inspires me to want to live there and master the language. But if I have the translation, I will not have this ambition or this aspiration.
The early internet era, we have a Yahoo Maps, and then people printed the Yahoo Maps and then driving to the destination with the Yahoo printed maps. But at that time, so we have made a mistake and then choose the wrong way, and several couple of times of try and finally arriving the right destination. But these days, no more the kind of experience. So it's a people not happen to be meet any foreign people, and we just stay alone and silence, and then the AI or the maps, Google Maps, guide me to the final destination without any interruption. So it's a feel lonely. No people meet. So even now, it's a Okay, another question like the Professor Lau. You're measuring the MIS, information systems. Last week, the robot with the ChatGPT and the robot with the ChatGPT actually emerged and then talked like a human. They're speaking German, speaking Spanish, English accent, American accent, whatever. They're changing even the Chinese accent, and mainland Chinese and Taiwanese Chinese. This is amazing. So, MIS a point of view, what do you think about the robot and ChatGPT?
Could you repeat the last sentence? What do you think of?
What do you think about that combination of ChatGPT and robotics and humanoid, smart humanoid?
Oh, okay. So I think that's still far into the future. Because there's so many things that need to be taken care of. While, of course, it is possible for voice and image, you get pretty good voice and image, but in order to get to institution into a robot, that to me is not something that will happen in the next couple of years. It will probably take at least another 5-6 years before that can happen. In fact, the first robot that I saw in the public domain was in Incheon. And the robot came and greeted me in English. So I assume it realized that I was not Korean, and therefore it greeted me in English. But those are very, I would say, minor things, because that is just greeting in English. Obviously, if I speak to it in English, it's not going to understand. But yeah, eventually, of course, we'll see all those things. But I would say at least a few more years down the road.
Chulmo, can I just add something to that question?
Sure.
So that's right. So this is quite new right now, but I have read just recently that Microsoft is using the natural language of ChatGPT to control a range of robots with simple text comments. In other words, normally to be able to control drone, can you hear me?
Yes.
Normally to be able to control a drone or robot requires sophisticated programming language. However, ChatGPT again is serving as an API between humans and the systems. So that is being experimented right now. So even though I agree with Professor Rao, I don't think it's going to take 8-9 years. I think it's going to take probably months, if not days.
Okay.
So as Professor Catherine Koo was saying, as we speak, a lot of developments are happening because it's really, in my opinion, ChatGPT's kind of integration into our lives is as impactful as when internet came into our lives. So I really say that strongly.
Yes. To Rob, what are you focusing about this point?
Oh, sorry, I was checking something out. Okay, can you repeat the question again, please?
Okay, now will be meet the robot with the ChatGPT conversation with me and in front of your hotel desk.
Well, I'll put it this way. As a consumer, now I'm not a researcher, I'm not a professor, I'm not a scientist. I am only a consumer, a hotel guest. Put it this way, I will welcome all kinds of technologies or tools that can help me to make my life easier, to do the search faster. And I don't want to use the word more accurate. At least I can get what I want throughout the process in a much easier way. In terms of traveling, Chamu, I like your question. The Korean people, they seldom go out of the country because of the language barrier. Well, I like this, but why we don't think it from another perspective? How about say for example, the travelers from the Western countries, they travel to Asia, right?
Yes.
We did have it in the other way. Not Asians go to Western countries.
That's right.
It's the other way around.
Yes.
Yeah. How does this happen? Because Asia, we have bigger we have more populations with more people. There's sometimes totally different culture in this part of the world. How can ChatGPT can do it the other way around?
That's correct.
We can think
you know
about.
One of the big the dislike point in Seoul, in South Korea, and then people complain and blaming when they visit Korea, language.
Yeah,
It's hard
exactly.
to communicate with Korean people on the street, and they always comment on that language barrier. And due to the ChatGPT, probably, Xian, you don't need to come. You don't need to worry about it when you are on the street. You just with ChatGPT and talking with us. And then you can ask whatever you want to eat in the Korean restaurant. That would be the Korean tourism industry market will be enlarged.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah, certainly.
I think I would like to see the other way around. I think I would like to see the other way around. That is, if Xian goes to Korea, then ChatGPT will help him to speak Korean. So we do not have just a mono language across the globe. We still have our own cultures and languages. But if I can add to this discussion on robot and ChatGPT, it's not that far actually. I also agree with Rao to a certain extent, but also to Sihan that it can be in a few months or years, because I research in women in tourism and gender in tourism, and we talked a lot about sex tourism. And in sex tourism, the idea of sex bots is not new, and in fact, it has been in discussion since 2014, and in the last 2 years, this has taken on. It has evolved very quickly, and the first blueprint of a sex bot is already in place. You can unpackage a sex bot, and it's already been forecasted how much of $1 billion industry it is.
That's correct. Probably my wife will recommend me one. She will like.
So it is moving incredibly fast.
Okay, right. Incredibly moving fast.
Yeah.
Okay, Jonghyun, can you read that the question? We have number 9. It's important.
Sure. So we have old-fashioned technologies like CRS, WBE, and RMS to handle inventory availability, price, category of rooms, seats, and cars, which are changing by the minute. What are the connection between those technologies and ChatGPT?
It's a serious question.
It is a serious question, but it's also a challenging one to answer, because it's not an inventory, our industry is less predictable than, say, how a restaurant runs, right? We are a global industry, and we have distribution challenges. It's a lot bigger, it's on a larger scale, and it's changing all the time, by the second, by the minute. People are booking rooms, booking cars. So, and ChatGPT at the moment depends on this stable data in order to manipulate, to turn out decision-making tools. So at the moment, I think our industry's data is too fragmented for GPT to use, but I don't know. They might be fixing this as we talk.
Can I add some comments?
Yes.
I don't know the exactly technical details about ChatGPT, but my understanding is that it's a one huge, humongous model, which rely on trillions of data to train the model. So now, if we're talking about a customizable ChatGPT, that might be doable. So you can connect your inventory with language-friendly ChatGPT, which can translate the hard numbers into user-friendly language. I think there's potential there, but I don't know exactly how that can be done, because I understand ChatGPT is a humongous one single model, and not as customizable. You have your local knowledge, your specific worldview for this company. I don't know if I think it's doable, but
I'm working with so within the United Nations, I work on a global report with women-led businesses across the world. So one of these companies is a tourism agency. It's a booking company, and they already use, all the different channels on the internet. But we were trying to look at whether, the latest innovation can help them accelerate their business. And at the moment, we can't do that because it's not picking up the data fast enough because people are booking at different times. So that's what I meant by the distribution challenges. They cannot sell all the packages based on real time.
Yeah, what do you think about this? CRS system or RMS system is a totally core information technology for hotel booking and airplane, booking. And now, when you mentioned the ChatGPT embedded in apps, so we can utilize apps for booking through my smartphone, and that apps probably back system is connecting to that CRS system or RMS systems. Jian, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Chumo, I don't know about those systems well enough to be able to answer this question. However, I can just tell you that what I have done personally to use ChatGPT to be able to purchase a ticket from Miami to Istanbul. So I asked, what's the best time to buy? So it gave me some tips that as gave it one particular, and when you try these different destinations, it tells you the best time to be able to buy a plane ticket, for example.
Yes.
The tip that it gave me 3 weeks in advance before traveling for my dates, particular dates, actually helped me to secure a ticket that is half price of what I normally would have bought. So $700 return ticket from Miami to Istanbul is unheard of right now. If you look at Turkish Airlines, I'm quite familiar with that one. That's why I know. So I assume that, again, without knowing too much about this technicality, that I believe that it's going to allow us to be able to get these inventories and optimize the way where we are going to maybe even help us to dynamically adjust the price. So revenue management is going to be on a new generation, in my opinion, with the help of ChatGPT very soon.
I think so. At this moment, just ChatGPT provide information to me, but the information will be actualized, seamlessly connecting to the back world system. That is a CRS, that is a payment systems. So they will reveal the inventory time to time, and then is this available seat here, and optimization, route. So in travel industry will be changing rapidly, I think. So probably, the tourism operators or the booking count, the professional operator will be disappear. Real disappear.
Absolutely, that will happen. Chulmo, I have to ask forgiveness because my flight is going to leave soon.
Sure. We are almost done. So one last question is, Jonghyun, we have a last question. We are all educators, so please read the Sachin.
In education perspective, ChatGPT is changing education, the way students are taught, and the way students study. Especially, this language model will create flawless-looking essays. So will ChatGPT be a threat to university education? And I guess we can think of ChatGPT as the calculator in mathematics.
It's an interesting question to us.
Let's have Sihan talk because he needs to catch his flight.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Gotta go. Yes, I'll tell you that. For example, I have provided a sentence, a paragraph about ChatGPT in my courses, in my syllabus. I allow students to use ChatGPT. However, I do not allow them to copy and paste. So it's perfectly fine for them to be able to find ideas, to be able to articulate their own ideas, to help them critically think. That's number one. Number two, I do believe that this is definitely going to change the way that we educate people. Not because of ChatGPT, it is already started to happen. We are moving away slowly from degree-based programs to skill-based programs. The growth of the MOOC, massive online open courses, certificates, skill-based. Google is providing tons of different certificates. And now when you look at the jobs that employers are looking for those skills kind of check mark as opposed to a 4-year degree. So ChatGPT is definitely going to be a huge role in education. I am using it when we are creating. University of South Florida is a creator for MOOC courses. We have 6 months and there is more in the pipeline. And we do utilize actually ChatGPT to help us with the content. So in my opinion, as educators, ignoring ChatGPT or banning ChatGPT is not the right solution. We need to embrace it, let it go, and use it as a tool as opposed to just maybe one ultimate goal. Thank you. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
I'll see you all and also thanks to all of the fellow panelists. Very nice to be here.
Okay.
Have a good
Thank
flight.
you very much.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you very
Safe
much
flight.
your opinion and attendance.
I
You're my
appreciate
brother.
it. Thanks for your invitation and doing this. Thank
See you
you.
soon.
Safe flight home.
Yeah.
Okay, Catherine, you educate us gender equality, whatever, you know. What do you think about this question?
In terms of teaching, in terms of use in the classroom, I think I agree with Sihan. We cannot avoid it because the more you ban students, youth, young people from doing anything, the more they will do it. And it is a phenomenon. It's a phenomenon. It's a reality. It's a sign of the change of times. It's technology, and we have to embrace it. And if we don't know how to embrace it, we can have our younger research assistants, the younger generation, to come and we learn from them. Like Jung Hun here. I ask my younger, PhD students all the time how to use technology, how to do certain things, and my son as well. I just watch him use it for, like, he's 14 and he's working and studying at the same time, and work is so different. The idea of work compared to our idea of work is totally different. Work has changed. People have more nomadic lifestyles now, and ChatGPT is just going to help it. And if we stop it, well, we will not win this conversation. But I have faith in people. I have faith in the humans who are programming ChatGPT and AI, and even like now, Google is already looking into cryptographic software to detect plagiarism, and they will penalize content that is plagiarized. So I have faith in the system that humans are smarter than AI, than robots, and we are the ones who create. I want to have faith. There is no choice but to have faith in the intelligence of human beings, in our judgment, and like this, the philosophical conversation around how do we use it better, how do we maximize efficiency, but not take away our humanness. I think that is important. We still need to be human, even though in hospitality, everything is AI and everything is robotic. Everything is like, customer service is by service bots. We still need to know when to use them and when not to use them. Where are the human touch points? I think that those are still important. And we need to teach our students these things.
Okay, that's correct. I totally agree with you. And Professor Rao, you're old-fashioned professor, and then with a bit old professor. So what do you think about this case? Are you going to utilize ChatGPT for students or allow their students to use in your class?
So one place where I can see ChatGPT contributing to education is by being a digital tutor. So on-demand digital tutor. So if it allows students instant feedback and guidance, that will be particularly beneficial to students who are having trouble with their work. So it can help bridge the gap between students with varying degrees of literacy. and because ChatGPT can use adaptive learning platforms that can be utilized for individual needs based on individuals' progress. So I can see that it could have a potential positive effect and play quite a big role in enhancing educational equity, particularly in underserved areas. So I see solid possibility for large language models to be positively employed in the education field.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the other side of the coin. Yeah.
Yes, so another good point is literacy. In terms of literacy, we can reduce the gap between the people using of this stuff. And another question to the Bing and Rob is important. You are the Chinese. I don't know exactly what kinds of Chinese, but anyway, you are Chinese. It looks Chinese. But the mainland China blocked the ChatGPT usage in the mainland. So, and I understand they want build up the AI independently from US. So what do you think about that case? Your point of view?
I honestly don't know this.
Okay.
ChatGPT cannot be used in mainland China. I don't know this.
It's blocked. Yeah, they can't.
I don't know. This is new to me, so I don't have an answer.
Yes.
Yeah, I think because censorship, because they train on the humongous of data online. I'm sure some people are gonna check what's happened in 1989 on Tiananmen Square.
Okay.
And
I see. Yeah.
That's against some laws in China. You know, you're not allowed to talk about those things. So, yeah. So that's why that's gonna slow down the development of large language models in China, we think, because you cut off certain information, certain part of history, then right.
You know what? It's not just a matter of the censorship. It's but I think mainland China, they want the create AI just like a ChatGPT and compete against the US. But things is I got a question. You know, the ChatGPT, they collect data from the internet or other information source. But mainland China, they are a huge country, is physically huge, and the population is huge. But the information only from the China. In that case, there's not much diversity of the information or different information comparing the US or the world. So is that competitive in the long way, in the long run?
I think it's opposite. I think because I think they will allow the model to crawl the Western world, right? Maybe block off some certain fact.
Okay.
If that's the case, they have diversity, you know. So
Yeah,
I don't think that's the issue. Maybe only a small proportion of information is not available. Maybe about Cultural Revolution, maybe about Tiananmen Square incident. Yeah.
Okay.
Bing is right. Yeah, Bing is right. Not every, put it this way, this is a multicultural world. Not every piece of information is suitable for every single country. I put it this way. Tom, I want to go back to your education question. Okay. Education. When you were talking to Catherine, Chi-Han, and Arao, I was thinking something very fundamental. What's the purpose of education? I look at the internet. The purpose of education is the act or process of imparting or acquiring general knowledge, developing the powers of reasoning and judgment, and generally of preparing oneself or others intellectually for mature life. Now, if that's the purpose of education, then as long as using some way that can improve the process of learning and teaching. And then how do we achieve that goal, right? Actually, it's not abstract. It is, we should welcome, okay, any tools or methods that can help us enhance this process. Yeah, that is my view.
Yeah, so times goes by. For example, game changer technology, internet, smartphone apps, and now ChatGPT, and also there's huge number of other applicable, the innovative tools for us. And I think those tools is for education, and then the human beings will utilize those tools their own purpose and their beneficial way. I agree. And still, the ChatGPT is the disruptive technology, but it's other part of the world still remain humans and other traditional technology. But the people and probably expect AI will embrace those kind of humanness and the traditional technology in the future. But there's also the good side and bad side of ChatGPT and AI and robot. There's I think a bunch of the research question ahead of us. Just like when the internet comes out to our world. Okay. It's 1 hour already passed, and thank you very much your attendance and your opinion. And I'm going to give the small honorarium to you. It takes time because I threw the school administration something like that, but I'm not sure. And I bring more the budget from Korean government, and this is a pre-stage talk show. The next main stage will become, and you are number one choice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chulmo.
Thank you
and
very much. I look forward to see you in face to
Thank you,
face.
professors.
Not
Thank
the
you,
Zoom
Chulmo.
anymore.
Rob,
Sure.
This is a
Rob
great
and Bing,
topic.
it's good to meet you here.
Oh, Catherine, good to see you again.
Catherine,
All right.
Rob.
Great. Goodbye, everyone.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, and Catherine. Thank you,
Thank you,
Professor
Chulmo.
Rao.
Have a good
Goodbye.
day. Bye.
Yeah, bye, bye.
Bye, Rao.
Bye. Nice to meet all of you.
Okay,
Nice to
I
meet
will
you.
sharing this content with you with the text and YouTube as well.
Cholmo, you
Thank
have
you,
to
Chulmo.
you have to invite us physically to Seoul.
Sure, don't worry. I
Not
will.
virtually. Virtually is
I'm begging Korean government to give me the money. I should
Okay,
invite them, not the Zoom anymore.
Okay. Okay,
I will.
bye.
Bye. 오케이, 김재원 박사님, 이거 잘 녹화돼 있으니까 아마 그 텍스트로 리튼 텍스트가 돼야 돼요. 그래서 본인이 쓸데없는 건 삭제하고 쓸데있는 것만 잘 크리에이티브하게 해갖고 하고 내 생각엔 여기 나와 있는 교수들 이름하고 김 박사하고 조 박사님하고 나하고 이렇게 같이 해갖고 그 IJ 예챔처럼 이렇게 오서로 해갖고 쫙 그냥 저널 오브 스마트 투어리즘의 3월호에 실릴 거예요. 그러니까 작업을 좀 해주셔야 됩니다. 오케이? 자,
그 오디오 파일을 좀 보내주실 수 있어요, 교수님?
이거 지금 녹화된 거 보내드릴게요.
그러니까 이거는 비디오 파일일 거잖아요, 녹화된
오디오 파일이
거는.
있나요?
근데 줌에
오케이.
오디오 파일도 같이 보통 저장이 되거든요.
오케이. I will. Thank you.
안녕히 계세요.
Yeah.